This is Eddie Cologne, EC Details, back with another episode. And in this video, we're gonna go over the art of rinseless wash. You're like, what did he say? The art of rinseless wash. I firmly believe that rinseless wash is one of those skills that you have to do it over and over again to find your rhythm. Not my rhythm, not Ivan LaCroix's rhythm, not Billy Bogus's rhythm will wipe out, not even Cam's rhythm, or Reggie's, your rhythm. And why I say that is this. What works for Eddie in his shop, it's not gonna work for Sock in his doorless garage. It's not gonna work for Mario outside or half his butt outside of the garage, or for Felix in the winter where he's just doing it outside. Everyone's environment is truly different. But in order to understand how to do a rinseless wash, I believe we have to understand the differences in the sense of what makes a rinseless, right? We all know that. Duh, Eddie. I already know, Eddie. I already know. I know you know, but listen, we're in the world right now. We're being inundated with all kinds of rinseless washes. And let me mute this. We're inundated with all kinds of rinseless washes. And some of us believe that we could use one like the other. And I learned that lesson hard. So I want to give you an example. A long time ago when I started with ONR version 2. It was going to version 3. It was so good. Freaking phenomenal. I'm not going to lie to you, okay? I know I make fun of ONR, but ONR is the GOAT. It's the original, the OG. The first ONR, if they would have kept it, I believe that 90% of these rinseless would not even matter. McKee's came out with theirs from 2019 or 20. I think 2018 to 19. Then I started going to McKee's using that. And I remember, man, it was had to be 85 degrees outside. And I remember pre-spraying the whole car. And I was doing this straight outside because I was trying to conserve water, because at that moment, I only had a 365 square garage. And I'll show you a picture here of the garage. It was tiny, freaking small, right? Look how big I am. So that 360 was more like 240. And I'm pull the car outside and I spray the whole thing, and it's like midday, it's the heat. And bro, half the side of the car was ruined. It had a whole bunch of water spots that I had actually used water spot remover to remove. That moment, I was like, I am the dumbest person in the world. But it's not the case. It's learning your environment, learning how to rinseless wash in your area and what's unique to you. So let's start this video with this. One, what type of rinseless washes are there? Okay, we're gonna show you this right here. This Prethla, I don't know how to say that, but this amount of rinselesses. We're gonna start with this corner here. And I think it's important to understand that there is categories in each one, okay? So when I say a category, we're gonna talk about polymer. Polymer rinselesses like Phoenix Hydra. It's a good rinseless wash. Is it the greatest? No, but it does the job. It doesn't have surfactants in a sense. When you shake it, you get a tiny bit, because there has to be surfactants to clean, but it doesn't spray or foam. It's more of a polymer, put it on the panel, let it do its thing. I'll show you a snip here, right? We have ONR version 90, right? ONR version, whatever the version this is. This is the OG in my opinion, right? This is what started everyone on the, man, I could wash my car without any type of soap. This bad boy here, you see it, you can still see bubbles because there are surfactants, right? You have cleaning surfactants, you have a polymer where the polymer itself takes the encapsulation, it puts it in a bubble and it pulls it down. But it does have some surfactants, right? So to say that none of these have surfactants in it, to say that none of these have surfactants in it would be a lie. Because they all do, it's just how they carry it and what they do to remove the actual agent to make it foam. What we call hybrid rinse, right? And then we have absolute, where absolute here doesn't like to be shaken. So I'm not gonna shake this because I made a promise I wouldn't, but I'll rock it. And if you can see it in here, you can see, rock it very violently. All right, I shaked it. You can see a tiny bit, just a tiny bit, right? So polymer, considered a polymer base. This is considered polymer base as well. Then we have, in this camp over here, what we call probably one of the greatest rinselesses of 2023, right? This is the DIY. You get coupon code below, shameless plug, RInseless10. This one has surfactants, and you can see it where the surfactants start to bubble. You can foam it on with 2 ounces, right? You can see it on top here. And it also has polymer, so it gives you emulsification. Also, it gives you the ability to pull down. This one's a new rinseless that is coming out, maybe. I don't know what they're doing. It's actually this one. It smells amazing. But to give you an idea, this one also has foaming agents and it's a hybrid. Hybrid meaning it could do foaming and also can, you can clean it without foaming it on. And then we have Drive, which I'm savoring this because this is their hybrid rinseless, flex hybrid wash, where if I showed you the bottle here, you see all that. I could foam it, I could use it 1 to 20, does all that. Now, we're at the other camp, right? So we talked about polymer base, we call polymer, but you have to understand polymer still have some type of surfactants in it. But the surfactants is, if it's detergents or not, that allows you to foam, that's between the company, but you can see it all in the bottle that there's still some minor surfactant. That's the cleaning power, okay? We have here another camp. This is the camp that I want to talk about mainly. So this is real good. ONR, no rinse. This has surfactants a little bit, but it is mainly made to be a kind of like a maintenance wash. You clean the car with it. It has SiO2 gloss enhancers, makes your hand dry, right? Protection. With this, you'll notice with all these, I'm gonna say, in Eco Wash 2.0, you do not want to use this in direct sunlight on the whole car. Heard what I said, right? On the whole car. What you want to do with this one is you want to go panel by panel. And I'm gonna explain the why in a second. And then you have this one, which just came out. It's probably the best rinseless wash with protection, polymer based only, has a little bit of surfactants in it, right? Remember, for cleaning, just for cleaning, but has also a polymer that's stout. This thing has a stout polymer in it. Not just polymer rinseless, where we say polymer pull down. We're saying polymer as in protection. Then we have this one, which you never want to buy, but it's the same ordeal. It's a rinseless wash, has some surfactants in it. It could be, I haven't tested it foaming, but you could clean with it. Has SiO2, also requires you to go panel by panel. This bad boy, which is, if you haven't tried this one yet, it smells like banana. Smell that, it's bananas, okay? It smells amazing. Showed you on a video, this is also a hybrid with SiO2 in it. Now, these three, in my opinion, right, will probably be the best in his class, including Wolfgang SiO2, so 4, that have protection. This one being stouter than both, and this one, in my opinion, cleaning better than this one, because it's almost the same, right? This one has a little more surfactants to get more cleaning. So Eddie, why are you telling me all this? I just want to educate you that there's always different kinds of rinselesses and they do different things, right? If you're gonna do a ceramic coating with Idrosave, what you'll want to do is use Veritas 1 to 3 afterwards and coat right over it to remove the polymer. That's a protection. If you leave it on there for more than 30 minutes, this has become stout. The problem with this too, and the problem with this as well, is if you do it in direct sunlight, right? So if you do these things in direct sunlight, and you spray the whole car, you're gonna be in a mess. You're gonna be in a debacle. Here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get water spotting. And the reason you're gonna get water spotting is like taking a sealant, spraying all over the car, and then what happens is you walk around the car and you're used to using like DIY, which you could pre-spray the whole car with a DIY or a McKee's if you're fast enough. Absolute, because Absolute has zero protection in it. Light, maybe light polymer, right? Gloss enhancers. But you're used to spraying this around the whole car, and you go around and you're wiping it, you're good to go and drying it. These two, when it hits paint and reacts, it leaves behind protection. So you want to work these panel by panel. Just, that's how I do it, or half the car. You do half the car, clean it. If you do get polymer spots, is what I call them, you want to use the same reaction to put it on. But I want to show you the difference between a pure polymer cleaning, or how I would do it, versus a cleaner like DIY, and how I would do it, right? And we're gonna go through that on this car. Now this car is being used for another test, so I'm not gonna do the whole car. We're just gonna show you the cleaning power and see if, does it really matter, right? Does the protection really add value, or does it clean as good? Because now I'm interested to know if DIY versus Idrosave, which one cleans better and what experience is better for me. Experience, I'm looking for slickness, gloss, easy to use. Also, how does it interact with my drying towel? So let's go through these two. I'm gonna show you how I dilute it. Cool thing about both of these is you could dilute 1 to 256, 1 to 256, 50 to 1 for a drying aid. I wouldn't use this as a drying aid because this is not as slick as this one. That's the only difference for me, right? This, I could wash my car and coat right over it. This, I would have to wash my car then do a panel prep, then coat over it. But either one I would use before ceramic coating. I would just polish the car if I'm gonna do it. Now, if you're gonna do a wash clay ceramic, you're gonna go with this or Absolute. I probably wouldn't go with Absolute because I like how Idrosave cleans better. So if I have this in stock, I'm gonna use it. I also love how this washes with the foam cannon, which I can't do with this. For the sake of this, we're gonna use the same bottles. Okay, I have press-all bottles, empty, okay? That one had water. I cleaned them out, so there was no contamination or anything of that sort. I have another press-all bottle that we're gonna use, and you can use anything you want. I'm showing you that you don't have to use a sprayer. You don't have to use anything elegant that way. We're going to use 2 of the same sponges. I wanna show you the condition of the sponge so you know right away where they're at and how they look, okay? So this one right here is one sponge. You can see that it has nothing released on that. Last one used on that was actually DIY. This one was used for Idrosave. Eddie, how do you know? This one was new, so I don't mix and match, right? So I'm gonna use this for Idrosave. You can see how the sponge, condition of the sponge. There's some light dirt on it. This one has some, okay? That's what we're gonna use. We're gonna dilute each one of these. The proper dilutions have 4 gallons of water inside of the bucket. We're gonna take DIY, RInseless10, right, description below. We're gonna do, 1 to 256, that's 1 gallon, 1 ounce 2. So we're gonna do 2 ounces here. You'll see that here. So you can see, no troll, go in the bucket. Apples, it smells wonderful. DIY has a place tomorrow. I freaking love it. It smells amazing, okay? We're gonna take this, do its thing. And then how I do tests in the shop is we're gonna take Idrosave, okay? Same thing. I have 2 ounces here. Freaking, I'm not gonna lie. That's gonna be hard to beat that smell, kids. I'm gonna fill up my sprayers. We'll go section by section. I'm gonna show you how I would do a rinseless wash with DIY, being a cleaner, knowing that I have a lot more time for it to dwell because of the surfactants and not the polymers. And then we're gonna use it, dry it, go over that whole experience, and then we're gonna take it and I'm gonna do Idrosave on this other one, and we'll show the cleaning power of both. Christy coming in clutch with that. Shout out to Christy, that is the best thing in the world. Okay, so let's check this part out. Show you the grime here, right? We're gonna compare the cleaning power of this rinseless. It's a whole bunch of grime. And this side, they're about the same, okay? I think this side has less, you can tell by the dirt there. We're gonna take the DIY one, and I wanna show you right away a portion of it. The surfactants are doing a good job. You can see the DIY surfactants are doing a good job at breaking all that dirt down. You see? Breaking all that dirt down. And you can see it here. So I always pre-treat. If I was doing this, I could do this whole car. I would spray it on the whole bumper, and I would do all that. I wouldn't be worried, right? Even in the sun, I would do all that. You still want to be careful because you can still get water spots if you don't have. I'm gonna get water spots if you don't have distilled water. So DIY emulsifies, starts to break down the dirt way quick. Okay. Way quick. Smells amazing. Bananas, RInseless10, get your 10% out. Okay. Now remember, I grabbed my sponge here because I wanted you to see that it's not dirty. And we're gonna see if this is gonna pull it out. Right away, I noticed that it's not as slick as what I've been using. Okay, you can see all that grit. We're gonna put it in, and you can see it releases dirt, right? So the cleaning power of this rinseless wash is phenomenal. The slickness is all right. It's not that great. It's not that great compared to what I've been using, okay? You see that? Put it in, I don't even have to, it's done. This is the majority of how people would use it. Let me roll this up before Tanner starts having a fit. Okay, and you can tell surfactants real good. Look, and that is the cleaning power of the rinseless wash. How it started already where it's at now. When I'm doing any type of rinseless wash with DIY, I'm always going to pre-spray the whole side of the car, and I'll show you here. This is why I don't have to worry, right? It's a cleaner, so I don't really have to worry about it. And you can just start seeing how DIY starts to break up the dirt right there. See, it starts to eat that dirt up. I will go on the glass. I'll do half of this because I need this for a test in the future. But I would pre-spray everything, and you can tell how DIY starts to just break the dirt up right away. And that's the power of a hybrid. That's surfactant cleaning hybrid. Let's get the glass here. Okay, get the glass here, get all that. And this one, I am comfortable doing all of it, the whole panel. And I'm gonna let it sit. Even in daylight, I would do it this way. And this would be the most I would do on any car when I'm doing a cleaner, because if I don't have distilled water, look how it breaks that dirt up. You see how it breaks that dirt up? If I don't have distilled water, I'll get water spotting. Click is Idrosave. Look how dirty that is. And you can tell, polymer, hybrid, cleaning, it's doing good. Then I grab my towel. And DIY, being the champ it is, never streaks glass. You don't have to worry about it diluted, right? And then you can see how much of this I could do on one go. Now look at that road film. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. I need this for another video. Look at that road film and look at the cleaning power one time. So if you're doing a rinseless wash, inside, outside, two things to consider, right? And this is why I showed you how I do it. You're like, idiot. You're still going panel by panel. No, I do the whole side of the car. The reason I'm not cleaning the whole side of the car, got a video coming. But when I'm doing rinseless wash, I'll pre-spray one whole side, let it start to break up, start where I started, go all the way forward and dry as I go section by section. I have been jaded by rinseless wash so much in my career that I don't play with it. Meaning, my TDS, my water TDS is as high as my cholesterol. So I always take caution, because this is that art of rinseless washing, right? You could still get water spots. You could still get problems. You could still find yourself in like spotting hell, and you're asking yourself, oh my gosh, did I do it wrong? The product's bad. No, you just did it wrong for your own area, for your own situation, where you're like, well, it works for this one and that one. All rinselesses are different. I use a rinseless from ADS that I used less than what they suggested, and it was better than what they did when I did the right dilution. So I do a lot of testing, and in my area, what I've learned is it always, no matter what I use, I have to go panel by panel or section by section, meaning one whole side by one whole side, or I get water spotting regardless, because my water's so hard. But let's compare this cleaning power of Idrosave versus DIY. I'll let you make your own decision. Using Idrosave or Optico, I'm not gonna use Optico, I'm not gonna cap it, right? If I'm using Idrosave or Flex, or even McKee's, I wanna make sure I put it on spray so you don't think I'm trolling here, but you can see right away that this is doing the same cleaning power as DIY. So I debunked that. Polymer rinseless can still clean as good as surfactant. The problem with this one is it's got a lot of protection in it. So you let it dry, you're getting water spotting, but you see that, right? I'm just spraying it on. It's breaking that dirt up just like DIY did, and it's doing work. Okay, it's doing work. It smells amazing. Look, and I would do this whole section. So if I was doing it, if I was washing this whole car with rinseless, I would do all this, and I would do all that. But I'm just showing you for demonstrations how I would handle it. Okay, right here. Do you see that? How it's pulling that film, that road film on it. You see that? DIY did the same thing. When you're like, hey, why didn't you come do that DIY? We already know it does. But you can see right here how it's starting to emulsify, encapsulate, and do its thing on the dirt. And it starts to break down road film as a polymer rinseless. The only thing that you're gonna get with this is, we'll see if we get staining, bro. You might get staining, because this is probably the slickest rinseless wash on the market right now. Slicker than Absolute for sure. And it cleans like a surfactant rinseless. And I'm just showing you an example here. I'm not even gonna go back in my bucket. Look how dirty that is. And look. I'll do it again. no staining, none, no staining whatsoever. Look how clean that is. And the interaction with the towel is a lot better. So does it clean as good as DIY? Yes. Idrosave cleans as good as DIY. Can you use it as like DIY? Absolutely not. DIY, I feel more confident going around the whole car and not letting it dry because I know that the polymers in this Rinseless is stout. And I know that if I let it dry, it's like me taking ceramic gloss, amplify, spraying all over the car, starting in one section, coming all the way around, and I'm gonna get that problem. DIY, it's a cleaner. It's gonna sit on the car just like soap. I could reactivate it just like soap and have no problem. But nonetheless, Idrosave still cleans the mitt for my area, still leaves the surface looking beautiful, and it cleans as fast as a surfactant Rinseless. But you still have to treat it different. That's what I'm teaching you here. You still have to treat every Rinseless wash you get different. Read the instructions. Yes, I'm telling you to do that. Play with it in your area with your TDS and your water, and see how it works. Let's look at DIY on glass. I'm gonna let this dry for 15 minutes. We're gonna let that dry here for 15 minutes. And this is the time, okay? This is the time that no Rinseless is immune. I'm gonna spray just enough, and I'm gonna let that sit for 15 minutes. This would be a great test, okay? We have a lot of road film here, and while we're waiting for that window test, I wanna show you DIY here, and we're gonna take this, and you're gonna see that it breaks the road, that the road film's still there, right? You can see the road film is still on the panel, but it'll break it up. So that's DIY, right on that line. I'm gonna do a line on this side with Idrosave, and you can see just the line here, okay? You see how that's a little wider. You can see DIY, you see that's a little wider here. You can see DIY. Now, am I saying it cleans better? I don't know. I'm just saying that it did a good job on the panel, and then when I wipe, I want you to see the dirt here. I'm gonna come in, and it still has a tiny bit of film on the mitt right here for DIY. We're gonna go to that section. Now look this section here. If you look where the white spot is, it does a good job breaking it. So Phil's asking, can Idrosave break it? Yes. Does it take the road film out? Yes. Look at the dirt here. Now here's what you're gonna get. You can see that Idrosave does have some dirt here, right here. So then my question now begins is it cleaning? Yes, it's cleaning. Is it taking the dirt off the sponge like DIY? It is not, but the film came off there and here, you see? And then when we look at the sponge for DIY, here, you can see the corner still has a tiny bit of dirt here. So they're both cleaning, right? They're both cleaning amazing. This one has more dirt here that it didn't remove, which I'm fine with. I could care less, but with the polymer Rinseless, this is like Eco Wash 2.0. You can see right there, that dirt right here. Yeah, but it cleans just as good. Just as good. You saw how I broke the dirt down here, and you saw how DIY, after I wiped it, broke down there. So that one did clean the dirt wild. They're both great. It's 8:44. I let it sit for over 15 minutes. So this is DIY. There you go. I'm gonna have to clean that up because I didn't take everything out. This is Labo. And there you go. It flashes off quicker, actually. There you go. So yeah, didn't leave any water spotting. Now, if you left it overnight, they're both going to water spot. I'm not going to test it because I don't like to deal with water spots. But if you leave stuff overnight, man, that's slick. If you leave stuff overnight, regardless of which one, you're going to get water spotting. Every single Rinseless wash, this is the whole goal of this, that you have ever used, you will use different. I would never use DIY or Opti coat the same way. I would never do that. If you use this in direct sunlight, and you let it dry, it will cause water spotting. But hey, I got news flash for you. If you use this in direct sunlight and you let it dry, it will have water spotting and you will be pissed off, right? The same thing with this. If you use this like you use DIY, right? You're gonna have different results. This one, you know how it works, you've used it more. This one's new to the market. The polymers are stout. So I would treat it like anything, like a sealant. I'll go panel by panel. DIY, I've used it for so long, I know I could do this whole side of the car in direct heat and get the job done. I've done a video and I put it here where I taught you how to do it in the sun, and I never did more than one panel ever because it could still dry, it could still cause water spots. So when you're using Rinseless Wash and the art of Rinseless Wash, understand the product you're using, understand how it interacts with your mitt, understand how it interacts in your condition. That way you get the best results when you're using your Rinseless Wash. That's it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. I had fun making it. You're gonna ask Eddie which one is better between DIY and between Idrosave. Honest with you, Idrosave showed you on the panel that it could pull down dirt as good or slightly better than DIY. Idrosave is much slicker than DIY is. So I hope that Ivan comes out with a revision 2 that we could bring to the market and we could test to bring daddy back to the crown, okay? Fair cleaned as good, left a great gloss, and it was easy to dry, and I could use this 50-to-1 as one of probably almost as good as Amplify 50-to-1 in terms of a drying aid. And that's just my opinion. You do your own testing, but remember, every Rinseless Wash in your area is gonna be different. I wanna thank you for watching. I wanna thank you for turning in. Road to 5,000. Shout out to Ethos for sponsoring that. We're giving out Rinseless and all his products directly from Ethos, and all you have to do is subscribe. So subscribe. We'll see you later. Out.